Hello, everybody. This is Robert, and thank you for tuning in to Station Square. And yeah, I'm just hoping that, y'all are doing a-okay, and we're still in the midst of so much fun and festivities going on throughout June. First off, I just wanted to wish all of you guys out there, for all my brothers and sisters, happy June. And I know this is, Pride Month and everything, so who knows what's gonna be. Yeah, I just wish everybody so much peace and joy during this time, and especially as we're approaching, the boy, the summertime, it's gonna be pretty stinking hot. So, yeah, it's gonna be a pretty interesting season to say the least when it comes to weather and whatnot. But I just wanted to say to everybody out there, just wish you all the best, and yeah, just having a lovely month. But I know you just want me to get right to the nitty gritty here, so we have a guest who we've communicated from time to time, and we've kind of had to shift gears a little bit, another rescheduling, which, you know, that it seems to be a thing. But regardless, scheduling can be pretty tricky, but regardless, we're finally here, and we have Miss Kelsie McDonald in the corner, and we're just gonna be chill and shoot the breeze and talk about anything that comes to mind. So thank you so much,
Oh,
Kelsey, for joining me on this lovely Friday afternoon.
thank you so much for having me, Robert. It's going to be a great chat.
Yep, so I guess to start this off, just share to the audience like everything that you've been doing so far and what you mainly do. I mean, you're also I know that you're an actress, but just share everybody like how 2024 has been for you so far. Already
Oh,
been quite a productive day, so
yeah,
apologies
yeah,
in advance.
absolutely. It's been quite a productive year. Well, hi everyone. I'm Kelsie McDonald. I am an actress first and foremost, also a writer and often these days producer as well, which is really exciting. Usually these days of film and television, but right now I also, in a couple of days, I've got 3 days until I open my first ever one-woman show at the Hollywood Fringe Festival in the Broadwater main stage. So it's a theatre show. So that's also really exciting. So yeah, lots and lots of things happening on my end. I so basically I'm an Australian actress, as you can probably tell by this accent. Um, but I've lived in 4 different countries before moving here to Los Angeles. I lived in London for I think 3 years, where I studied at the Guildford School of Acting, which was amazing, and then got stuck in Guadalajara, Mexico for 14 months of the pandemic. That's a whole nother story. And then I finally got my green card and entered the United States 3 years ago. So I've been here, I've just had my 3 year anniversary a couple of days ago with LA. So yeah, it's been a wild and wonderful journey since moving to the US, but it's honestly been it couldn't have been more incredible. I'm thrilled to be here and I feel very, very lucky at all of the opportunities opening up. And I've been really hustling a lot for the last few years, particularly during, the strikes and the pandemic, doing a lot of writing. And I feel like my fingers have been in many different pies, and just waiting for something to one of those pies to finish cooking. And I feel like all of the pies are popping out of the oven at the exact same time right now. I've got a short film proof of concept called The Power Within that's just announced that it's going to be having its world premiere at the Dances with Films Film Festival at the Chinese Theatre, which is amazing, at the end of June, and then followed by some other very exciting film festivals after that. So that's happening. I've got a proof of concept for a TV series called Womb Room that's just about to start entering pitch meetings, and then yeah, we've got who's serving who, which is this one woman show. So it's a bunch of stuff going on. Very excited.
First off, congrats on 3 years being in LA. That is just huge. It's such
Thanks.
an amazing feat. Yeah. And also congrats on everything else that you've kind of been working on. I mean, like, that is just a lot of projects that you've kind of covered in like the first 5 minutes of this. So, way to go.
Yeah. I'm getting better at pitching, I think. Getting better at condensing all of the information into a little bit. But I'm happy to go into any details. If you've got any questions of any of the projects, we can launch into them. I'm totally happy to.
Yeah, of course, of course. So, man, where do you even begin?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah, but I just wanted to quickly ask, like, since you are based, like, you're Australian and English, and then you came to Los Angeles for like the last 3 years. So how would you describe like your early beginnings?
Oh, early beginnings. So honestly, I popped out of the womb knowing that I wanted to be an actor. Mum used to always say that. She was like, "Oh, when you were inside of my stomach, I swear you used to watch Neighbours through my belly button, and you knew you wanted to be an actor then." So I've always known that this is what I wanted to do. So from the age of 2, I remember I was hassling my poor mum to put me into an acting school when I was 2 years old, but no acting school takes a 2-year-old in Australia. So I had to settle with poor mum, called every single acting school around, and everyone said, "No way are we taking a 2-year-old. Can she even speak? Can she read lines?" No, no. And a ballet school said, "Okay, we'll give her a trial for just the 2 years before she can enter into drama school." And so I have this video, this home video, which is quite funny, of me doing ballet on this stage in Australia and being the most professional of all of these small children, just taking it very, very seriously because all I wanted was to be on the stage. So yeah, and then when I was 4, I started doing little theatre groups. I remember my first ever play was Peter Pan, and I was cast as one of the Lost Boys, but I quit that drama school and moved to a different one because I was very offended that they wouldn't give me a script. And then my mum's question to me was, why should they give you a script when you can't read yet? And I was like, well, I don't know, but how am I supposed to learn my lines if I don't have a script? Um, so yeah, I have been taking it seriously ever since I was a little kid. I started writing my own plays when I was I think probably about 7 or 8, and putting them on at school. Um, and then, yeah, just was always acting all the way through school, extracurricular activities, making my own stuff. I made my first proof of concept when I was 14, which I begged, borrowed, and stole. Well, I didn't steal, just begged and borrowed film equipment from the school so that I could make this proof of concept, which I watched the other day. And honestly, oh gosh, we've come a long way in all of those years, thank goodness. But yeah, so it was once I graduated from school, it was launching into, I did a musical theatre internship, which was really exciting. And then after that, I did a lot of conservatory training as an actor and made some indie films, or was cast in some indie films. And it wasn't until I did my master's degree at the Guildford School of Acting in London that, after graduating from that school, I came out and co-formed a theatre company called the Encompass Theatre Collective, with some friends out of drama school. And then after that, started making indie films with one of my writing producing partners on a fair few projects, Cristo Fernandez, who is to this day one of my best friends, and he's still one of my business partners on a bunch of different projects. And he has had some really amazing success. He was in Ted Lasso, and so and now a bunch of amazing shows and films after that. So his career is really taking off, and yeah, it's crazy to see and be so close to yeah, that journey. So yeah, it's sort of built. We used to, all that to say, we came out of drama school and started making these indie films together with no money. I remember we'd save and save and save for 6 months, and then we'd managed to save £500, and then we'd make a movie with this £500, which, the £500 is really not a lot to make a movie. It's not possible, but we'd make it very guerrilla style. So it's that sort of, we started making films on nothing, and then from nothing turned into some investments, and from some investments has turned into exciting getting indoors, to be able to start pitching to some really exciting companies and people really taking notice. So yeah, it's crazy. Sometimes you think, I never thought I was a writer, ever. And I had no interest in trying to write my own stuff, really. It was only ever out of necessity. But the more that I've done it, the more I've realized that actually I think I'm not I'm not just an actor, I'm a storyteller, and there's all of these stories inside of me that have to get out. And so writing is a way to obviously tell the stories that you've got burning inside of you that have to get out there. So yeah, it's been an interesting journey going from really scrappily throwing projects together just in the name of the art to now working on some really exciting things that hopefully are going to take off, and are definitely receiving some exciting recognition from some very admirable sources. So yeah.
Boy, that is quite a journey.
Yeah. Certainly is.
Yeah, so being from Australia and, having English roots, and yeah, how would you say that the Australian, like, childhood, was like? Just exploring yourself and just exploring all these creative avenues, endeavors, and just everything that you're doing right now.
Yeah, it's interesting. This one woman show, which I'm going to show you the playbill. I know that this is a audio, but look how exciting! So this is the playbill for our one woman show, my one woman show, I should say. There's just one of me. So in this show, I do talk a lot about being Australian in Los Angeles, and because it's interesting historically, and still to this day. I will, as an Aussie, I will still have to go into an audition room generally with an American accent, because most films and television series will require, you know, they want you to be American, because that's sort of the sound that people, I guess it's easy for people to understand. Everyone understands an American accent. Mine's maybe a little bit harder to understand, but I do think that things are changing and people are starting to want to hear different sounds. They're starting to want some, you know, diversity and different backgrounds. And so it's been an interesting journey firstly being Aussie. I mean, I grew up making mud pies. I grew up not being allowed to watch much television. Like, I was allowed to watch, I think, half an hour's worth of television in the evening and maybe half an hour in the morning, and that was it. And everything else had to be using your imagination. And I'm not joking. I did grow up with kangaroos in my backyard. I mean, not pets, because you don't have a kangaroo as a pet, but I had kangaroos in my backyard. And so yeah, it was an interesting. I don't think you could get a childhood better than growing up in Australia, and particularly growing up in. It was sort of not rural, but like, I remember my parents. They they like they built their first ever house on red dirt in Australia. Like, it felt like we were in the outback. And now where we grew up in Springfield, it's sort of like a little epicenter, and it's a little mini city. So it's definitely not the way that it was then. But growing up with kookaburras waking you up. Do you know what a kookaburra is?
Sorta.
Sorry, I caught you without the microphone on. Do you know what a kookaburra is?
Sorta.
Oh, sort of. Okay. So for anyone who doesn't know what a kookaburra is, they're these birds, really beautiful birds that make a noise that many people would mistake for a monkey. So you'll wake up and you'll just hear in the bushland outside of your house, "Cook, cook, 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 like a weird, crazy noise like that. And people truly are like, oh, it's monkeys in the jungle. And firstly, it's not a jungle because it's Australia, it's bush. Secondly, it's a bird. So growing up with these amazing birds and cockies that will like fly over and try and talk to you, and we don't like snakes, but there were snakes in the garden as well. And kangaroos, koalas. You just on a walk and you look up and you see a koala. It's a really I mean, it's not, I don't think it's possible to grow up in that kind of landscape and not be down to earth and grounded. And I mean, my parents certainly encouraged me so much to use my imagination and not be sitting in front of a television. And so that's really, I think that probably shaped why I am the extreme creative that I am now, because I have always had such an overreactive imagination. So growing up in Oz was very much like that for me. And then living in England was a real different sort of culture shock. Oh, I've got a very cute cat just meowing at me. I'm babysitting my housemate's cat. How cute is he? This is Meowgie. Say hi to everyone, Meowgie. He's going to stop talking now, just because I said hi. So yeah, growing up in England was a really, not growing up, I lie. When I was living in England, it was a real different thing because in England, I feel like, I mean, my grandparents were English, and this cat, Meowgie, he just wants all the attention. Um, yeah, so my grandparents were English, and I feel like my mum was very English as well, without even realizing that she was, because she didn't grow up there. Um, and I felt like in living there and having spending such a long time there, I realized that I culturally identify a lot with the English culture, the English people. I really felt at home there. And I really loved it. But I didn't feel like I had as many opportunities in England because I kept getting told, well, you look like you're from the north, but you sound funny. And so it was sort of like a smaller pond with bigger fish, which was kind of the same as Oz. And then moving to America was just amazing because and honestly it was the similar in Mexico, just being different, in Mexico everyone was like, whoa, like she looks different, she sounds different, interesting, let's give her an opportunity, let's get her in a room for an audition, let's give her a chance. And then I've moved to LA and people just love Australians here. They love the vibe, they love the sound of the accent, which is funny because us Aussies just think we sound like bogans, which is like an Aussie version of a hillbilly, which we don't really find that cool, but the Americans love it. And so what's great about LA is that I just feel like people are always willing to give you a chance here. And so they'll be like, oh, you're new here, you're a newer talent. Oh, cool. Like, no worries. Let's give you a go. Let's give you a try. And I think that's really amazing. There's always doors that are you knock on doors and in this industry, and sometimes you knock and knock and knock and no one ever answers the door. But I feel like here in LA, people always answer the door. They'll always answer it and maybe invite you in for a cup of tea, is my strange analogy, if that makes any sense at all.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just learning more about the culture right now. So
Right,
there you go.
great.
Yeah. Yeah, so you just took up acting at the age of 4, and then after that, it was kind of a little bit difficult, but as an adult, you've trained with the NIDA, which was the National Institute of Dramatic Art, and then you attended the Atlantic Acting School in New York City, USA. So,
Yeah.
yeah, just being able to, first you've trained at the NIDA, and then you went over to the
Or
AA,
NIDA is
Atlantic
pronounce it.
Acting School, because I'm sorry?
They pronounce it NIDA in Australia.
NIDA. Yeah, and I'm not gonna say because I just realized that it spells like a certain word. But so I'm just gonna say Atlantic Acting School in New York.
Yeah.
So NYC. So how would you say that that also really helped you grow as an actress and as a person? Like
Oh,
your
listen,
anecdotes and experience.
the Atlantic Acting School was honestly the most life-changing experience of my life up to that time. So up to that time, I'd never been outside of Australia, and I wasn't sure if I wanted to go to London or if I wanted to go to America. But I auditioned for a scholarship at the Atlantic Acting School, and I was awarded a part scholarship for this program. And because I was a foreigner and I didn't have the visa, it was a 3-month program, and so I got to come over to New York for the first time ever, setting overseas, and training. And the Atlantic Acting School, I don't know how much it's changed because it was a few years ago that I was there, but they were really strict and very, very much like expected such high expectations of their actors, which I loved because I I mean, training as an actor is one of the most exciting things that I feel like I can do, and I love learning. I love being a sponge, and the Atlantic Acting School really pushed me. Like I it was so hard. If you were literally 1 second late to class, they would lock you out and not let you in for the entire class. And if you were locked out of 3 classes, you got kicked out of the school. That's how intense it was. And but honestly, I think it made every single person there take the work seriously. And something interesting that I was told when I was at the Guildford School of Acting is that you need to be somebody as an actor, you need to be able to take the work seriously, but not take yourself too seriously. And I really think that that was the Atlantic Acting School really, really grilled into me how seriously you need to take the work that you do in the lead up to getting on stage. Um, that school truly taught me to push myself to places that I'd never been before. It taught me that like so there were some scenes that we were learning Shakespearean scenes that were like 15 minutes long with massive soliloquies. And I remember having something like 3 days to learn these huge Shakespearean monologues that I was like, there's no way I can learn this. There's no way I can learn it to perform it in 3 days. It's not possible. But this school made me realize that anything you put your mind to, if you work hard enough, anything is possible. And yeah, I mean, not only did the methods that they teach just really sit with me. Practical aesthetics was really hard for me to grasp for the first 3 weeks. I was sort of failing and failing and failing and failing, but I wanted so badly to get it. And when I finally got it, um, it was like a new door to this new world had opened up for me. It really taught me to be connected with the other actor that I'm acting with, and to find truth in the performance, and and also enjoyment in even the hardest of scenes, because as actors, you know, we don't just we're not always doing, I've been doing a lot of comedies lately which are very fun, but we're not always, it's not always fun and funny and, you know, sort of nice light vibes. You know, sometimes you're acting something that's really traumatic, and that can be very taxing if you're using particular methods or you don't really know what you're doing. And the Atlantic Acting School taught me to find joy in even playing with scenes that are dramatic or traumatic. Um, so yeah, I mean, I can't recommend that school highly enough. And I would have loved more than anything to have gone to the Atlantic School for the 3-year program, and done my bachelor's degree with them, but visas and finances just got in the way. And I also knew that if I graduated from that school in America, then I wouldn't have got it. The chances of me getting a visa out of that school were nearly impossible. And I would have had to have gone back to Australia and started again from scratch. Whereas if I went to London and did my degree there with an ancestry visa, because my grandparents were English, I could stay there and use the contacts and actually work in London and finally make my way back to America. So all that to say, I did have a meeting with the teachers at the Atlantic Acting School at the end of my training, and to discuss what the next step should be. And that they were the ones that helped me decide that England's the way to go, and one day I'll make my way back to America, and I did. So yeah, can't recommend that school highly enough. It changed my life for the better, for yeah, for good.
Yeah, I'm very glad to hear that. So, you completed your master's degree and then you got your US green card. So, in 2020, yeah, right when everything just started getting crazy. You
Oh,
started in
crazy.
three, yeah, crazy. No, 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 not even crazy. It was
Bonkers. Mental.
chaotic. It was just everybody just we all just lost our minds, but you starred in three feature films, three. So, and they're all set for cinema and streaming platform. Yeah, just let's talk a little bit about your productions, your movies, and just your acting portfolio. Now is
Okay.
that time of the podcast. Let's
All
talk about
right.
your work.
Hey, we
Let's
love
do it.
that.
We
Okay.
vibing.
Woohoo! So yeah, I guess during the pandemic, I was stuck in Mexico, in Guadalajara, with my writing producing partner, Cristo. And so I was cast in a feature film, an indie feature film called When You Are Gone, because in Guadalajara, we were lucky in the way that uh, things weren't quite as restricted for us. So if we were very careful, if we had the right protocols, we were able to continue our film work. So I went on to work on this amazing feature film with director Rafael Altamira, who's one of my favorite directors of all time, based in Guadalajara, but I'm sure he'll be in the States very soon. Um, and that was incredible and an insanely cool thing to do during the pandemic when everyone was in lockdown. And then after coming out of that, we had an opportunity, Christo and I, to have one of our short films turned into a feature film. So we'd written the feature film script, and so we had an investor, our first ever investor, invest in our project, and we made this the feature film version of our movie. Now, obviously, when you do things super indie and during a pandemic, sometimes things take a little longer. And actually, we're still working on the reshoots of that, but that hopefully will be released later this year. Fingers crossed, maybe early next year. But that's going to be really exciting because it's a bilingual rom-com, very much down our alley, and sort of tells you a lot about what it's like being I play an American, but being stuck in another country and not understanding the language or the lingo or the culture, and having to sort of learn about all of that. So yeah, that was that. What else? And then I moved. So since I've been living in the States, I've worked on two more feature films. One is with one of my favorite female directors of all time, Bo Youngblood, who also directed my short film, The Power Within. That's called In Flight, and that's going to be released soon. I believe it's just been shopped at Cannes, which is very exciting. And I've worked on a fair few short films. I've got a lot coming up, actually. I've got three short film shoots coming up. But the really exciting one for me was The Power Within, which is one that I wrote and co-produced and acted in with some of my favorite female actresses and one of my favorite male actors as well. And that film is the one that's having its world premiere at Dances with Films. Now, this one is one that it's female superheroes, right? So I wrote it in dedication to my mum, who she lost her battle with cancer about 2 years ago, and she had been helping me develop ideas for this female-driven superhero film. And so after she passed, I said to myself, I'm making this movie for her, and I need to make it now. So first things first, let's make the proof of concept short, and then we'll pitch it for either a feature film or a TV series. The way that my head's at now, and having developed this idea, I think I want to pitch it as a TV series. And ultimately, my big goal, and I know this is crazy, but I'm just going to put it into the universe. My big goal is that I want Marvel to pick it up. I want it to be turned into a comic book, and I want it to be a female-driven Marvel. And what's really special about this film, and I can't give too much away because it's all secret right now, but I think my favorite thing about this film is that not only is it female driven, my character is actually Australian. She doesn't have to put on an American accent just to sort of fit the mold of what a superhero is. She is Australian. And we don't have a female Australian superhero, and I think we need one. But what's also cool is it's not just her. There's 5 other girls in her, I guess you could say team or posse, but there's a really big twist about these women and how they all relate to each other that you're gonna just have to come see the film to know the twist, because otherwise I give it all away. but yes, it's very exciting. So if anyone wants to learn any more about any of the projects that I'm working on, please follow my Instagram, because I'm just releasing information as it all comes. There's my personal Instagram is Kelsie Actor, Kelsie Actor. And then my company, my film company, which is pretty new, and I started only 2 years ago. I'm very excited with how things are going. That's People Power Pictures, or People Power Pictures with, an American accent. Sometimes you can't understand what I'm saying, and I get it.
Oh yeah, yeah. So like I said, it's just my mind, so much information at once, man.
Yeah.
I kind of do wanted to ask about your theater company, London-based theater, Encompass Theater Collective, and yeah, just share with us a little bit about, running that whole little operation there. Your little playhouse, I should say, playhouse.
Yeah, so Encompass Theatre Collective was a company that I co-formed out of drama school, out of the Guildford School of Acting in London. And we started making devised theatre. And this devised theatre did a lot of London Fringe, and also got taken throughout different parts of England and Europe. We did a really exciting run at a festival in Italy, actually, which was amazing, with a production we'd worked on called Goethe and Christiana. But my most favorite of all of those projects was one called Lovers Anonymous, which we started creating when we were at drama school. And it was basically a immersive production where the audience will all come and sit in a circle in a YMCA, like a town hall. And it was set up like an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting, but it was called Lovers Anonymous, and it was for people with problems with love. And it was an extreme comedy where the audience entered not knowing who's an actor and who's audience. So the person sitting next to them and talking to them could be a real person or could be an actor. And honestly, it was such a fun show and so different. I've never seen anything like it. It was totally immersive, this experience. And I think we did, I worked on 2 runs with them. I think they went on to do a 3rd run of the show because it did so well. And that's when I was living in Los Angeles by then. But that company are still working on a lot of things right now under a different company name called Shake It Up. And they are amazing. They've created this amazing new concept, basically, where they travel around England and Edinburgh. They've done the Edinburgh Festival a couple of years, and they totally improvise a Shakespearean show based on audiences' ideas. And I've seen the show so many times, and every time I'm blown away. So I was lucky enough to be a part of the company for a very, very short amount of time before moving to Los Angeles. But that's the only downside to living in so many different countries, is you meet. I met some of my nearest and dearest friends in London, in England, and I'd started some really exciting projects, but in the end, living in America was exactly where I wanted to be at this time in my life. So, it's sad to not be able to do all the things. I wish I had one of those machines where you can just like get in it and it takes you to anywhere in the world, or like a door in my house that I open and it just takes me back to Australia, or takes me to my favorite theater in London, because travel is a tricky thing. So I feel very blessed to have had the opportunity to live and work in so many different places, but it also it's bittersweet when I have to leave some of those things behind. But definitely Encompass Theatre Collective and my team that I was working with over there, that whole group of about 12 of us, they were absolutely one of the big inspirations behind my one-woman show. I hadn't worked in the theatre in America at all. Never actually worked in it, apart from coming and training in it all those years ago. And so I really I sort of started to think, okay, what's something else I can be doing to put myself out there, particularly because we'd just been on strike and it was writers' strike and then actors' strike. And there was just so much time not being able to work. I was like, okay, what can I do so that when we come out of this, I have something to put on and something to invite people to that they can actually see and it feels tangible. And that's when I decided, oh my God, I haven't been on stage in so long, not in years. And I think I need to scratch that itch. So it was, yeah, thanks very much. Thanks to the understanding of how to put on a theatre show that I learnt from Encompass that helped me be able to confidently know that I could put on this one woman show for the Hollywood Fringe Festival this year. And it's been a lot of work, but I'm really, really happy with how it's come together. And it's been a beautiful team effort with my amazing director, Pam Matu. And I've had a lot of support from I've got this really lovely group of really incredible and powerhouse group of kick butt women over here who are like the best cheerleaders in the world. So I know I can fall back and rely on them if I ever need any help with things. But it's been a really exciting journey, that's for sure.
Yeah, and I know there's gonna be plenty more to discuss about in the next part, so thank you all so much for watching so far, and stay tuned for the conclusion. Um, I'm just so enamored and blown away by a lot of stuff that you're doing, and just I know we still got plenty more to talk about coming up in the next. Just coming up in a little bit. So until then, thank you all for watching, and stick around for part two. Later. Hey, welcome back, and yeah, we're just gonna be talking a little bit about because you've won so many awards at so many film festivals, like you've mentioned it previously, but I just wanted to specifically bring up winning the two Best Actress awards, specifically for 2011 when you played Leah in Come and Get Me at what was it, the Bloodfest Festival? Yeah. So tell us a little bit about how working on that film was the whole experience and getting to be honored with such a prestigious um accomplishment.
Gosh, that was such a long time ago. You're bringing up a blast from the past for me. Um, Come and Get Me was my first ever feature film that I worked on, ever, ever, ever. I think what was I? Yeah, actually, I shouldn't say because I should keep my actual age a secret, shouldn't I? From the world, but yeah. Listen, it was my first ever feature film, and I had never been so excited ever to work on an indie film. It was just so exciting, and it was really, really indie, really indie. We shot it in the middle of the Gold Coast hinterland, which was, I mean, very, very much out in the middle of the sticks, as we would say, in sort of like inland from the beach in Queensland. Um, and I mean, stunts were all done practical. Everything was practical. And it was pretty amazing because we had Steve Boyle, who had done, I think, Scooby-Doo and The House of Wax, came on to do our special effects. And so he made molds of all of the girls' faces and made these like I mean, it was a slasher. So there was a lot of like cutting into somebody's stomach and pulling out their gizzards, and their gizzards are going all over the floor and there's blood everywhere. And it was, but like it was all done practically. And this, I mean, Steve was amazing, and the crew just really knew what they were doing when it came to special effects. So it was really eye-opening for me to see how a feature film set worked. And to work with some people who really are, really are working at the top of their game. Our makeup artist was Nicole Kidman's makeup artist. So I just remember being like, wow, I'm in the presence of royalty. There's Nicole, the person who's touched Nicole Kidman's face is touching my face. So yeah, it was really, really amazing. And then I never expected to win any awards. For this film, and I was I don't know how much later it was after we shot the film, but I was not living in Brisbane anymore at that stage. I was living in Melbourne, which is like a 3-hour flight from my hometown in Brisbane. And yeah, we got accepted into the Bloodfest Film Awards at the Melbourne Underground Film Festival. And I remember I was so sick. I was very unwell that day. And the director messaged me saying, please, can you come to the award ceremony? And I was like, my God, like I can, but I'm so unwell. And he was like, I know, but I think you're gonna want to be here. And so I was like, okay. So I did my best to, take some flu medication and, put makeup on and try and feel like a human being. And I went, and yeah, hearing the names read out for having won the award was just craziness. I felt really, really honored to have been a part of the project. And I mean, when you win an award as an actor, I'm a firm believer that it's a team effort. An actor can't do what they do without an amazing team of writers, amazing cinematographer, amazing editors, amazing direction, amazing co-actors. There's so much that goes into filmmaking. But it was really it was a really big encouraging moment to be like, oh wow, all the hard work might actually be paying off. Um, so yeah, it was very exciting. And then a few years before that, there was the theatre award, the Best Actress for the theatre award, for a theatre show called Wolf Lullaby, which is a really, really dramatic Australian theatre show, which is very quite traumatic. And winning that as well. I remember I was really young, and the rest of the cast were a lot older than me, and so nobody expected. I think I was the youngest person to win a Best Actress award at that festival, for just because I was just so young. And so that was also something that I think you just never expect it. And when it does, it's like, oh, wow, okay. Just a little bit of encouragement to know that you're heading in the right direction, and that you may be doing the right thing with your life. Because sometimes it can be, it's like being an artist, everything's subjective. What one person's going to love, somebody else is not going to love. Um, and and you don't really know if you're doing the right thing with your life, because everyone around you's got sort of real jobs, 9 to 5s, and here you are, hustling. But I always come back to the analogy of how Shakespeare's troupe used to work, or his the thespians back in back in the olden times, in England, how they'd have a play, somebody would write a play, and then all of the actors would come and they'd do their little auditions. And I don't think anybody was getting paid for anything. It was just they were doing it for the love and hoping that maybe they'd perform for the town, and then the town would say, oh yes, they were great, the pub's going to make you some free food, and so then they at least get to eat for the night, and that's like their payment. And then maybe if they're lucky enough, they get to perform for the king and queen, and then the king and queen might let them, I don't know, maybe might give them an award of a gold coin or something, or maybe treat them to a feast at the royal table. And so, but it was all about the hustling and the performing in the street, and just like thriftily being like, what do we have? Okay, I'm going to use this plank of wood as a tree, or that person's going to be the tree, or so I think it's whilst awards are just something you don't expect, and they're a lovely thing to receive. But it's always good to come back and be like, oh yeah, like we do this because we're storytellers, and it's a lovely thing to receive that award. But I have to be honest, then you're just back to it the next day. You're back to the grind. You're back to submitting for auditions. You're back to doing the auditions. You're back to hustling. So yeah, I mean, when I'm Brad Pitt, or not, well, I'm not going to be Brad Pitt because I'm a woman, but when I'm the next Meryl Streep, maybe I'll feel, maybe I'll feel a bit more like, oh yeah, this award means I got it now. Yeah, maybe I don't need to hustle as hard. I don't know. We'll find out, I guess.
Yep, right on. So, looking forward in the future, you're you just continue telling so many stories from around the world, and you're what I really love about you is that you're not afraid to push boundaries and just evolve, just put so many new thoughts into our heads and just make us really think about, philosophy and just so much in our day-to-day lives that it just kind of becomes like, oh wow, I never thought of this before. Like, oh man, maybe I can, yeah, this is something that I never knew that has a whole nother meaning to it. Like, it has an even deeper process going into it that I would never in a million years have thought. And you just continue to inspire change all throughout your creative career. And I just want to say, keep it up. I really
Oh,
do mean it.
thanks. Thanks, Robert. I
Such an
absolutely
inspiration.
will.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. No, it's a
Oh,
very
yeah.
exciting time right now. So I appreciate being able to chat about all the great things that are coming. And I very much hope that yeah, there's lots more exciting things to talk about in the very, very near future.
Yeah. Do I smell a future follow-up interview?
Maybe you do.
Yeah.
We'll
Okay.
plant that seed.
Yeah, for real. Okay. We're just kind of like wink, wink, nudge, nudge to the audience. But
It's all right.
yeah,
It's good to
so
leave them wanting more. Just leave them with that cheeky
exactly.
wink.
Yeah, for
Hey, look.
sure. Totally. Yeah. So just God, you've already shared so much. So I don't know what is anything else that you can really discuss right now that isn't already out, or just anything that you're really the most excited about. Just share or just self plug promo.
Yeah. Well, listen, if anybody's in Hollywood or Los Angeles, I open Who's Serving Who in the theater at the Broadwater main stage in 3 days, the 10th of June at 9:30. You can buy tickets by either following me on Instagram, and there's a ticket link in the bio, or going to the Hollywood Fringe Festival website and then searching Who's Serving Who. Um, this is only a 3 night only theater show for the moment because it's a big theater. It's a 100-seat theater, and tickets are selling fast, so get in quick. But what's really exciting is this is only the first rendition of this show. I have huge dreams to take it to the Edinburgh Fringe. I'd love to have it off Broadway one day, and ultimately, I'd like to turn it into a TV series. So I've actually just started working on the pitch for that concept. So you want to get in and you want to see the first rendition, because then you can be that person that's like, hey, I saw Who's Serving Who before it was a massive hit on whatever streaming platform or television station it's a hit on. So I'm just manifesting, obviously, but I do think it's going to be a really fun show. It's funny, I think. Or you can tell me, come see the show and then tell me if you found it funny. But I also think it's got a lot of heart, and it's a show that is it's basically about an Australian waitress in Hollywood, and the pretense is that the audience are the table that I'm serving, uh, and so not only do you as an audience get to really have a sneak peek into the secret life of your server, but you also get a front seat ticket to really like what's going on inside of this character's heart at that very moment that she's working her restaurant shift. So I think it's a really fun but also really beautiful piece of work, and I just think you should all come see it. We'll have a hoot, and we're gonna go get tequilas after at the bar next door. So if you don't come for the show, come for the tequila.
There you go. Hard sell.
Oh yeah. Listen, the tickets are only $12, so it's not too big a hard sell.
True. But if you were to leave us close out with any parting words or any last bit of advice, or just share the last bit of your wisdom upon, the audience for today, what would you want to leave us with? And yeah, where can you expect to see the future in your future, like with everything that you're doing, endeavors, life, just industry, so
Yeah.
much. Yeah.
Oh, that's a really
Last
nice
words.
question. Listen, I think that if there's anything, I mean, I'm not like nobody knows, and I can't say that I'm a wise old owl of a bajillion years, but I can tell you that I if there's anything I've learnt in this last few years, it's that I truly believe that we can do anything we set our minds to, but we have to first believe in ourselves that we can do it. Um, and that's the hardest thing is believing in yourself. And so if that's the journey that you're on right now, I think it's a great journey. And I think that that's a journey that I've been on for years. And I finally feel like I'm in a place where I trust myself and I know that I'm worthy of the work that I'm doing. And I really hope that I know that I do what I do because I want to inspire other people. And I want to bring light to any darkness in the world. And I want to lift people up and give people a smile and make fill people's hearts the way that life fills my heart. Um, and so I think if we do things with the right intentions and we trust and believe in ourselves, then the sky is the limit. And I think that that's what my future holds, is to prove to the world that that is possible, and to help elevate other people, inspire other people, particularly women or people that haven't had. I'd like to raise up and tell stories um, with people that haven't been given a voice before. So I do think that that is what my future holds for the world. So get ready, because I am ready to sprinkle some magic on it.
Beautifully well put together. Did you already share your socials?
Yes, but I'll share them one more time because we've got to make sure people follow them. So my name is spelt weird. Yes, I think my parents got it wrong, made a bit of a mistake, but hey, that's okay. It makes us unique. So Instagram and Facebook is at Kelsie, Kelsie, actor, ACTOR. And then my production company is at People Power Pictures, all one word. You can find me on Instagram, you can find me on Facebook, and on IMDb as Kelsie McDonald. And I look forward to having you with me on the next step of the journey. Thanks so much for listening. Thanks for having
Yep.
me.
Yep. Thank you. What would your outro be for this?
My outro. Oh, I don't know what that means.
Oh, sorry. I'll just help you out. My name is Kelsie McDonald. I've done blah 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 blah, and thank you for watching. And you've just been tuned in. Yeah, this is Station Square Podcast with Robert Jackson. Just
Yeah.
my name is this. I do this, and Station Square Podcast. Robert.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for listening, guys. My name is Kelsie McDonald. I'm an actress, filmmaker, sometimes theatre maker, and you're listening to the Station Square podcast. Enjoy.
With the Robert Jackson. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. And yeah, as for my outro, thank you for watching. I'm Robert, and this is Kelsie, and we implore all of you guys to follow your dreams and never give up on your passions and whatever it is that you want to do in life. Go full steam ahead and crush those goals or whatever, or just do it. Just do it. But
Love
regardless,
it. Just do it.
thank you so much for watching, and stick around next time on Station Square. I'm Robert Jackson, and I'm officially signing out for the day. Thank you so much, and have a lovely rest of your weekend or afternoon or whichever time zone you're in. And yeah, happy Friday. Thank you so much, y'all. Love you. Bye bye.